like we're getting in a whole lot of trouble, 'cause everybody's living in their own little bubble. Close your eyes and the country falls. I've always liked bridges better than walls. Some like blue and some like red, and some like to watch Fox News in bed. Swallowing the Kool-Aid, it's so clear. I'd rather be ruled by love, not fear. These shoes, try on these shoes, try on these shoes, somebody else's shoes. Try on these shoes, try on these shoes. Before you talk, take a walk in somebody else's shoes. Disbelief, 'cause you shun the ones who need the most relief. And can you not see when the powerful use their position to bully? We're all gonna lose. And imagine if the tables turned and suddenly you were the one being spurned. Would you break down? What would you do? Would you have another point of view? These shoes, try on these shoes, try on these shoes, somebody else's shoes. Try on these shoes, try on these shoes. Before you talk, take a walk in somebody else's shoes. Ice cream and fish and chips, I put my fingertips inside your palm. Cross at the traffic lights, all the commuters look longingly at the prawning that's under your arm. And the rock pools shine in the chalky mist, and you say to me, here are some fisherman's secrets, my darling, but please don't tell the tourists. Always, always, always a sixpence. There was always, always, always a sixpence. The bladder rack, I took a treasure back home from the sea, ticking and tiny, deliciously briny. I know this land, each stone, each corner, each tree. And the tide comes in, and we walk the lane. And you say to me, keep your eyes open for magic, my darling, and just like magic, it's there again. There was always, always, always a sixpence. There was always, always, always a sixpence. Romantic fools often direct their hearts to assorted anatomical parts, but I stumbled upon the sweetest reverie the day that you first winked at me. You and your eyelashes are causing car crashes all over this town. Trendsetters are making mad dashes whenever you and those satin sashes are hanging around. Oh, you and those eyelashes know just what a panache is. Merci beaucoup. Film stars with fancy mustaches, Rapunzelesque lasses, pale in comparison with you. Oh, those ocular fringes give me twinges so my knees go weak. The size of the visors around your eyes is simply magnifique. You and those eyelashes are causing hot flashes. You could make a phoenix rise from the ashes. How quickly it seems that time passes looking at you and those eyes flashes.
Well, here we are, another installation of Mia's World. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the world at large, or wherever you may be, locally, nationally, internationally, globally. Thank you for tuning in to Mia's World. And thank you to my incredible guest, whom I've waited for several months to have, and we're making an autumnal appearance, Zoe Lewis. So thank you, Zoe, for being here.
It's lovely to be here on Zoom, coming to you from Provincetown to New York.
One of my favorite places in the entire world. It's very nostalgic because we used to go there during summers in Cape Cod back in the 60s. So when I went back there last year and met our mutual friend, Alona Royce Smithkin, and dear and near to both of our hearts, it's just an incredible connection to have you and Alona in our memories, and just to be here in the beginning of autumn in New York, autumn in Cape Cod, autumn everywhere in the world. And we need some wonder and music, and the perfect person to embody that is you, Zoe Lewis. So thank you so much, because music heals the heart and soul, and you do that with sentiment and open-heartedness and humor. You are whimsical, you are quirky, you are quintessentially adorable and charming, and you've been called a band in a body because I guess you just play everything from ukulele to washboard to what else do you play? Piano, of course, and guitar. And how many other things do you play?
Hey, I played tons of things, not very well, but I mean, hundreds. I do play, piano is my main instrument. And then I went, I'm from England originally, and then I hit the road. So you can't take a piano with you. So, gradually on the way I picked up the guitar. I jumped freight trains when I got to the United States along the West Coast. That's where I learned the harmonica with my legs dangling off the side, playing the harmonica. And then I got to New Orleans and I started picking up the washboard and the spoons and hearing all the world beat grooves. And if you're in Latin country or anywhere in the world, they make music out of calabash that fall from the trees or garbage can lids or anything. So you can make music out of anything. And I actually did a kids show for a while called Music in Our Pockets, and I'd get everyone entering their pockets and making music out of whatever fell out of their pockets. Because, I studied classical when I was little, and then I rebelled. So you can make music out of anything in any way, shape or form. And that's what I like to, that's my message.
That's an incredible message. You're right. Make something beautiful out of nothing, or out of beautiful little things that become huge in our world or hearts or souls. I just want to say the Boston Globe called you equal parts musician and storyteller. This British transplant is blessed with the uncanny ability to find and to uncover the extraordinary beauty in the seemingly ordinary, which is so true. You play gypsy jazz, swing, world beat grooves from piano to the spoons. Love the spoons. Mm-hmm. You're from Brighton originally. Your mother was French, or is French, and your father British. So that's an interesting combo right there. You lived in Provincetown for almost 30 years, right?
Yeah, this is true. You've done your research.
I am so into this whole background. I love delving in and seeing what's going on with the person I'm interviewing. Mm-hmm. You've traveled to over 70 countries. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, I left England, and I was 23, and it was time to go and see the world. And, I just was drawn. I eventually came to the United States, but I went all across Latin America on my own, and I was seeping up the music, the Latin grooves, they were all offbeat. In England, it's all on the beat. And I feel the rhythm, and I wanted to be amongst it and learn it. And not only that, the hot, wonderful culture and I come from a tiny village. I'm near Brighton, but I'm really from a little village called Rottingdean by the seaside. So it was good for me to leave and shake it all. I mean, I had a great childhood, but it was also great to turn myself inside out and upside down and wear different people's shoes. So yeah, then once you've done that, you can't stop the wanderlust. So I would eventually, when I came to Provincetown, I'd play music all summer, save my money, and go travel. So
you are
everywhere.
wanderlust, incredibly, infinitely there. Wanderlust. Speaking of feeling other people's shoes, we played in this intro music medley. We played all Zoe's music. These shoes, which is ironic because today is National Taco Day, and you're wearing "Make Tacos, Not Walls." Today is
yes
on your T-shirt. And then we played Always a Sixpence, which is the most nostalgic, touching song, sort of a tribute to your father.
Yes.
You would walk to and from the sea and do your prawn fishing and find little dots of sixpence on the road.
About magic and about just slowing down. And my dad was a quiet man, and my mum was not a quiet lady. I'm not quiet, but I learned to enjoy him, I had to sort of calm down a bit, which is not easy for people like you and me, I think.
You're right.
But it was a magic time. And if I did that, I would have a magic time with my dad, hence fishing and catching things, because you can't be noisy when you're fishing or you're in nature. Otherwise, the magic things will disappear. So he taught me that. And even though he was a man of few words, he showed me his love. Well, the song is about him always dropping a sixpence for me on the floor, and I'd find it, and it took me till I was 16 to work out that it came from his pocket.
I was thinking the same thing, that they just appeared magically on the road until you actually said that. And my father when I was with my father, we used to find pennies, and until this day, I'm thinking, I think they were just there, and now I'm thinking maybe he dropped them too.
I think maybe he did. Well, I have my girlfriend trained now. When we go to England, she drops pound coins.
Oh my God.
And I find them as if by magic.
Exactly. Well, the third song we played was a tribute to Alona, called Eyelashes, with her incredible orange eyelashes. And you've got the most wonderful rhymes, like "You and your eyelashes are causing car crashes and mad dashes and satin sashes and phoenix rising from the ashes." Who comes up with those rhymes except Zoe Lewis?
Well, I'm very influenced by Cole Porter. So that was a kind of Cole Porter-esque song, especially because it's about Alona, and she was from that era and loved songs like that. And it's certainly fun to find things that rhyme with lashes. I mean, there's so many.
Unbelievable.
My favorite bit, though, I was quite proud with "Ocular fringes give me twinges," but
Brilliant rhyme.
The size of the visors around your eyes is simply magnifique.
Fantastic.
It's fun. It's like doing a puzzle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to also say that your incredible album, Small is Tremendous, was signed to Judy Collins's Wildflower record label. That's amazing in itself. And you've toured with, Richie Havens, Nancy Griffiths, Indigo Girls, Judy Collins. Don't ask. This is Zoe Lewis. You wrote 2 musicals, Snail Road and Across the Pond, which I would love to see. Those were staged in Provincetown. You led a speakeasy, which is annually, I guess, in Cape Cod. And you go every year to Puerto Vallarta, which is a whole other world. You just amaze me. But first, before we continue our interview with the dynamic and wonderful Zoe Lewis, I have a few points of trivia. October 4th being the day we're taping this, and you may not be watching it on October 4th, but here's some trivia about October 4th. Okay, some birthdays. Susan Sarandon, I can't believe, is 75 today. How is that possible? The American hip hop entrepreneur Russell Simmons, 64. Actress Alicia Silverstone is 45. And today, October 4th in 1970, Janis Joplin, the rock singer, died. Hard to believe, over 50 years ago. October 4th in history. In 1824, Mexico becomes a republic. In 1883, the Orient Express departs on its first official journey from Paris to Istanbul in honor of traveling. Zoe travels and loves traveling. 1933, October 4th, Esquire magazine was first published. In 1957, the TV sitcom Leave It to Beaver debuted on CBS. That was a favorite of mine. I don't know if you saw it in England.
No, we didn't have that in England. Yeah. But I've seen it since.
Yeah.
That's part of me learning how to be an American. I have to watch Leave It to Beaver.
Absolutely. And in 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite which orbited Earth until 1958, inaugurated the space age, which is coming back now, and heightened Cold War competition between the U.S.S.R. and the U.S. And a couple of October 4th holidays. It's National Cinnamon Bun Day. It's National Golf Lovers Day. It's National Vodka Day. It's National Consignment Day and National Child Health Day and National Taco Day. So those are the holidays for October 4th. And now, before we continue our interview with Zoe Lewis, thank you to Jade Zabrich, my wonderful engineer, by the way, who's also a great singer-songwriter and guitarist. And here's the rhyming wrap-up of the week, which we always do for adding some glimmer to the gloom of the world. So here it is. Pelosi's quite a lass, trying desperately to pass the Democrat bill for 5.3 trill. Sounds pretty darn crass. So Meghan and Prince Harry surely didn't tarry to get lots of press. Guess more is not less. Is that why she wanted to marry? They claimed they stopped being royal to be private, the perfect foil for more attention. And oh, did I mention they say they're still quite loyal? They came to New York City, Meghan looking pretty, in a plush wintry coat. Did she have a sore throat or was she just being witty? Was she hiding a wire, and where? Is Netflix in the air? Are they taping a series, these non-royal dearies? It's more like Truth or Dare. Ex-Governor Cuomo sighting on a fishing boat, highlighting one faithful friend, his dog till the end, no bitter pup backbiting. In tennis, the tide keeps turning. Naomi's got that burning post-hiatus itch. Now, isn't that rich? Miss Osaka sure is yearning to serve at the net again. She took a break just when? A few weeks ago and at the U.S. Open. Perhaps she's been practicing Zen. Vaccination mandates are rising, which may seem to some surprising. Should we rejoice? Where's freedom of choice? Are the powers that be jeopardizing? Health workers are being fired, essential ones overtired. The former heroes are treated like zeros. We need to be re-inspired. Who was that goddess in gold? A glittering duchess bold. Across the pond, a premiere for James Bond. 'Twas Kate Middleton to behold. A vision in her cape gown, not a trace of gray or frown, all glam sequined and sheer at the premiere. All she needs, a crown. And it's National Taco Day, so chili and pepper away. Keep tasting the cumin, keep flowers a-bloomin'. Now where is my Chardonnay? And that's our rhyming wrap-up of the news for this week. It's October, it's autumn, and we've got Zoe Lewis in the house at Mia's World.
I like your news.
Oh, thank you. It's more fun in rhyme, don't you think? Well, you're the rhymester, so you would know. So, Zoe, I love your sense of tradition. You know, you've got a real interesting combo of nostalgia and melancholy and the tradition, like in your songs. And there are so many songs, like your song for Tanta Ana and your bicycle song and Solitude. But then you've got the upbeat, uplifting songs, you know, like Eyelashes and Chili. So that blend is so unusual, I think. And I love that in your style.
Well, I love a melancholy song, but you know, when my gigs are known for being very upbeat, but if I keep it upbeat and then throw one of those in, people, you know, you can get to them, you can make them cry, you can make them laugh, you can make them ecstatic, and then you can make them cry, and then you can bring them back up. I mean, I like to do that in my shows, and I'm a big sucker. You know, my mom was French, so I'm a sucker for the French accordion music, that wistful French melody, and I have been inspired a lot especially for my slower songs with the French feel. And yeah, I love all of that, really. You know, I love that people never know how to describe my music. That's kind of my downfall, but I'm also proud of it. Well, because people never know what radio show to play me on. Should I be on the world beat one? Should I be on the jazz one, the funny one, the folk one, the children's one? I'd like to be on the one for everyone myself.
Done all of them, because what happened to the Renaissance woman? She did it all. So there you are, you know. We shouldn't be in a niche. You should be.
No, I don't like to be put in a box. And I love so many things. I'm inspired by so many things. So, you know, it all goes in. And I'm glad you like my melancholy ones. That means a lot to me.
I've talked about this a lot on this show. I know Jade's heard this before, but I've said before, and I'll say it again, melancholy and bliss. And in the Brazilian culture, they talk about melancholy and bliss being similar. And I feel that, because a lot of melancholy songs are extremely beautiful and soulful. And I love that part of the musical world.
Me too.
So maybe we should start with one of those. Maybe we should start with either Solitude or Never Too Old to. Well, how about Solitude?
Solitude, if you want some melancholy.
Let's do that.
You know, it's melancholy, but it's happy too. It's about, you know, in Provincetown, if you've ever been to Provincetown, it's you know, so many people come, 50,000 or more now come in the summer, but it's 3,000 year round. So, you know, you're used to it being really quiet and it's yours. And then all of a sudden, tons of tourists come, and that's great because that's my living. And then you get used to it and it's party. But, you know, it's very important, well, to have your moments of reflection. So I know all the spots to go off on my bike, and I can always escape and find them for a moment. And it reminds me when I was a little girl and I was trying to find myself and think about things. And I would go, you know, my parents were lovely, but I would go down the bottom of the garden and just hide behind the garden shed. And I would smell the earth, and I would be sitting on a flower pot, upside down flower pot. And I'd be drumming with another one with some bamboo canes. And it was my place behind there. And my friends, we would go down, we'd roll up leaves and smoke them, you know. And it crazy, you know, my mum was like, why are you smelling of burnt leaves, darling? But anyway, I liked hiding behind the shed. And I would read. I grew up with A.A. Milne, and this is one of my favorite books, Now We Are Six. I think it's back to front, but A.A. Milne, Now We Are Six. And when we were very young, and there's a poem called Solitude, and I used to read it. I used to take this down behind the shed and read his poems. And
I love that.
We all need a little moment of solitude. So this is some of his words and some of mine. I have a place where I go when there's too many people. I have a place where I go when no one can be. I have a place I go. Nobody ever says no. No one says anything, so there's no one but me. Now we are six, it seems pretty clear. It took more than 30 odd years to get here. Part of this world in a world of my own. Sometimes still I sit in the dark alone. 'Cause I have a place where I go when there's too many people. I have a place where I go where no one can be. I have a place I go. Nobody ever says no. No one says anything, so there's no one but me. Buttercup days, dizzy as sky, alone as a lighthouse and twinkly as a captain's eye. When the very last rock touches sea, I can be just who I wanna be. 'Cause I have a place where I go when there's too many people. I have a place where I go where no one can be. I have a place I go. No Nobody ever says no. No one says anything, so there's no one but me. Give me a moment to watch the rain. It's perfectly delightful to be 6 again. Don't talk, anybody, don't come near. Can't you see that all the fish might hear? What's going on in that little brown head? Wonderful thoughts that can never be said. On Kite Flyer's Hill, I'm in the mood to fly away into my solitude. 'Cause I have a place where I go when there's too many people. I have a place where I go when no one can be. I have a place I go. Nobody ever says no. No one says anything, so there's no one but me.
Beautiful. Absolutely. It's so special. It's so moving, and it's so you know, and so true. I love those special moments and special places, and so many people can identify with that, Zoe. And it's just a tribute to your ability to combine the worlds of being curious and childlike with mature and appreciating the solitude. I just love that song. It's also on.
You know, Ilona always said, you can't dance at 2 weddings with only 1 derriere. And I love that. I tell myself that all the time because I get so like hyper and doing a million things and, you know, always wanting to do it. And then you have to rein it in because you only have so much energy. And, you know, you have to rein it in and keep a little bit for yourself. Because then it's like, you know, then it will grow more and then you'll have more to share and give away. So that's why you need to go behind the garden shed. That's why you need to just go into your own head for a bit and sort it all out. And
speaking of going into your own little world, I always like to ask composers and musicians where and when they like to compose. Like, do you like to do it in the wee hours of the morning or afternoon or whenever the muse fits? And where? At home, in the kitchen, at a coffee shop, or?
Great question. Well, it's changed over the years. I mean, travel was a great thing for me because everything was new, like the eyes of a child. You know, then you grow up and then you go traveling and you have the eyes of a child again because everything's new. And so that's where songs for me come from. It's new. I've got to write about this. I've got to write about this. You know, when I first came to the States, I was writing about a sandwich or a diner, anything, everything was new, you know. So I mean, you can find the song in everything. The skill is too. I mean, it's like you have to see the newness around you in your own, you know. You can write a song about anything if you can get hold of what the meaning or the inspiration or the beauty. So, but for me, traveling and I suppose being on the move, like I've done writers' residencies since, and I did one in Key West, and I had a piano, a cottage they gave me, and a bicycle. So I would start writing, and then I'd just ride the bike, and as the wheels went round my head, it formulated the ideas, and I feel like on the road. And I know writers like cars; they like it in the car too, driving their writer's song. So movement is good for me. And then when I used to live next to Spiritus Pizza, which is, you know, a party place, it didn't close until 2 a.m. So you couldn't go to bed until after 2 in Provincetown in the height of the summer. So I would just like have a glass of wine and just play and make lots of noise and stay up late. So, and then the town would go to sleep and I was still writing. And I like that. I'm not a good morning person writing.
Quiet time to write, which is wonderful. Now, you grew up in southern England, right? And so you were in a small seaside town.
Yeah.
So, and
My town it's a village called Rottingdean outside of Brighton. Rudyard Kipling lived there for a bit.
really?
Yeah, and it was a magic town, a little village, because it was a smuggler's village. It is a smuggler's village, and there's chalk cliffs and flint stones. So the chalk would fall into the water, and the seaweed would grow up, and then grow off it, and there would be little caves. That's where I'd go fishing with my dad underneath the caves. But the chalk is very soft, so the smugglers in the old days, they made tunnels all under the village that come up to the church, come up to the pubs, to the old houses by the village green. So you know how magic and how curious I was about those tunnels as a little kid. I went into cellars that used to be tunnels, and once I found a door that was open by the cliffs, and I went in with a flashlight, and then we got scared and we ran out. But you know, I mean, it's old, it's full of adventure and magic. Rudyard Kipling wrote a poem. It goes, for 24 horses riding in the dark, brandy for the parson, baccy for the clerk, laces for a lady, letters for a spy. Watch the wall, my darling, as the gentlemen go by.
Oh my gosh.
And that is our little village saying. And it's like, can you imagine all the smugglers? Because this was so long ago, but we were excited by all this.
You were like the explorer, the ultimate Vasco da Gama.
In my own mind, I was.
What did your parents think about you being so free-spirited and going into music as a career? Did they approve, or?
They did, because I came later in life. My brother and sister are 20 years older than me. So my mom had me when she was 51. So, and I grew up with parents that were grandparents' age.
Right.
So I never really realized it. I did think, oh, my mom and dad are older than the rest of the people's kids' parents. But my dad was an older man in his way, but my mom was always, she died at 96, but she was like a loner. She was always young. Age is just a number, you know, and she felt 21 inside. She always told me that, just your body changes. So.
Well, that's a perfect segue for your song, Never Too Old to Be Young.
There we go. Well, they always supported me with my music, I guess, and they were of an age to say, hey, darling, if that's what you want to do it.
I love it.
So I rather like older people. I mean, I like all sorts of people, but...
While you're strumming along in introducing your song, I want to say that you can go to zoelewis.com. And upcoming shows, there are many for Women's Week, and October 10th, Zoe and Liberace, called An Evening of Glamour, Glitz, and Ivory Tickling Extraordinaire. There's October 11th, Zoe and Natalia Zuckerman, a wonderful jazz blues singer, and October 14th, Zoe Lewis and the Bootleggers. So you've got the gorgeous Cigarette Girl and all kinds of wonderful surprises. So that's in Provincetown if you're there for the next week or two. And then she's coming to Jersey City and the New York area for the Hudson West Festival. So go to zoelewis.com. And there's wonderful shows live from Zoe. So here is Never Too Old to Be Young.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this message if you would. Life is so full of creases, that's why I think wrinkles are very good. It is most imperative to have a little joyfulness each day. So don't stop playing just because you grow older. You grow old because you stop to play. Because you never know, you never know, you never know, you never know, you're never too old to be young. When you're halfway through, you just begun. You're never too old to be young. When they tell you to act your age, they're obviously lacking in expertise. Can't they see it doesn't matter unless you're a bottle of wine or you're a piece of cheese? So when those twilight years smile down like diamonds upon you, please remember when you think you've done it all, you're gonna always find something new. Because you never know, you never know, you never know, you never know, you're never too old to be young. There's a million songs to be sung, cause you're never too old to be young. Everybody, if you were wise, you can have whatever you visualize. If you believe it, you really can be like Peter Pan. Oh, cause you're never too old to be young. From the age of 3 till 101, you're never too old to be young. Oh, no, 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 you're never too old to be young. There's a million songs to be sung, cause you're never too old. No, you're never too old. No, you're never too old. No, you're never know, you're never, no, you're never too old to be young.
I love that theory and philosophy of life.
Thank you.
I don't know how you acquired
that now.
No, you're always young at heart. And
I have a cup of tea. Hila.
Did you watch any of the British comedians to get your sense of humor? Did any of them inspire you? Like,
I grew up watching them all.
You did? Did you
I'm inspired by, I have a very corny sense of humor, but I love, I of course grew up with the British sitcoms and things, but I'm very inspired by a monologuist called Joyce Grenfell, who was very proper, but quite naughty too. I love the double entendre. People always think I'm being ever so proper, but really I can slip in things and they think it's an accident, but it isn't. But the thing is, you don't laugh, you don't spell it out in English comedy, you zoom by it. And for me, that's what cracks me up. So
nuance.
I don't like to knock people over the head with it. I just like to fly by, and then the laugh comes late and you're already on to the next thing.
Exactly. Subtle.
I like. So Joyce Grenfell was a big fan, someone I loved. I did love, these are all people that you wouldn't know, but Victoria Wood, she was a piano player and a comedy writer. She did very well in England, but I was inspired by these. I was always looking for piano players. There's so many guitar players, but I was looking for piano players. I like theater. I like theater so much, but never really was exposed to much theater. But I tried. I guess performance-wise, I love that. Then I came to the States and I got into the folk scene. So the folk scene, I'm not that I really played much folk music, but more of a jazz player. But I like the storytelling in the folk festivals. So I heard Arlo Guthrie, of course, and all sorts of people. And I love the tradition of telling a tale. I love a story. So
and your songs are so beautifully story told, the bicycle song and Write Me a Letter. They're just they're simple, but they're deep and very touching.
I do love you. You're saying all the right things.
But
sometimes people just think, oh, she's just funny little old thing, playing. And then, but I must say, as I get older, it's nice because people spend more time listening and they're like, actually, they find more things in it. And it's really nice for me because I do labor on trying to put an important message out. And
it's not so easy to write a song. I will say that. I think it's quite a skill, and it takes a lot of time and thinking and pondering. And I don't know, does it take you a long time to write?
In the old days, they used to spill out of me, and I kind of blah. As I said before, I was so inspired, but now I guess my craft of songwriting hopefully has got better. So I used to use just my heart all the time, and now I try to use my heart and my brain. And now I really try to finesse them. I do. You know, people probably wouldn't know it, but I do. I spend a lot of time finessing them until I'm really ready. And, you know, I love rhyme. I love words. I love poetry. And, you know, and I like to put the, you know, my messages like yours, joy and, you know, enough. There's so many people who've been hurt in life, and they need to be praised, and they need to leave a show feeling better.
Well, you certainly do that.
Laugh, cry, and feel, maybe have learned something, and feel connected and feel loved, you know. And
how is it, you know, I've seen some of the amazing YouTubes of you performing with Ilona and of course with the bootleggers and different groups, but do you feel different collaborating with somebody like Ilona versus solo?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I often share the stage with people and we do our own things and then we come together. I love to jam. I mean, Ilona, I miss her so. I mean, we both, I think our philosophy was the same, very similar anyway. So it was just so easy. We just clicked. It's mad when we played together. It was like jumping a freight train and going and having the time of our life. I remember for a while she had a pinched nerve or something really bad in her back, and she was in terrible pain, but she would come and perform and it would all go. She had no pain. We had no pain when we performed together. And neither did the audience. A magic thing happened, you know, and you do that with music when you find the right connection. I mean, sometimes I feel like I can do it on my own because, well, it's not on my own. I'm connecting with the audience, hopefully, if it's one of those evenings. Believe you me, I've had ones that I haven't had, but you know, that's my aim. And when you do, a magic thing happens. And with Ilona, always a magic thing happened. And I have other friends, you know, this guy, David Mayoko, he's great. He's a Liberace impersonator and a brilliant concert pianist. And underneath all of that, as well as all those fabulous things, he's a darling man. And he spreads this, we have the same philosophy too. So, you know, and my friend Natalia, who's coming, and we've been playing in Provincetown every Friday in a place called The Club. And I mean, people are so ready for music.
Especially now.
It's been great. And we're all just jamming and everyone's so grateful. And it makes me so happy that I have chosen to do music for this.
And you have a recorder player too. I play recorder, so that fascinated me.
Well, Roxanne Layton, she is my dear friend. We've played together for years and years. She knows my stuff inside out. And she is a virtuoso on her instrument. She also plays with Mannheim Steamroller. And she's brilliant. She plays like Cuban jazz on her little sopranino recorder. And then she'll play Vivaldi the next moment. And
yeah, amazing. I love that. Because my goal is to play jazz recorder. I've only played classical, but to hear that is incredible too. So now I would love to go back to another tune of yours. It's again somewhat reminiscent in that style because it's called 78, and that's a tribute to 78 Records, which I had growing up. I think I remember, I think it was Perry Como, Catch a Rising Star, maybe.
Oh, perfect.
Of course, we all have Beatles. I mean, we've got such memories.
Actually, that was probably on a 33. It was on a 78. Because you see, I have my 33s I bought from England, but I have my dad's 78.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, where did I put them? Here they are, because I have a Marlene Dietrich, which was a favorite of Ilona, Falling in Love Again. Oh, and the boys in the back room. And here is a MGM. This is Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, my God.
Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. I mean. But I love it because I have a wind-up Victrola that, you know, I often take to the beach, and actually I can tie it on the back of my kayak, I found. I can kayak out to the tip of Cape Cod, and you can play the music to the seagulls or your true love and take a picnic, and it's nothing better than that.
What could be better? Well, would you like to play and perform 78?
I will. And did you know that when the Vitrolas, they don't really have volume. Later on, volume came. So each record has a different volume. So you know the big gramophones, I mean, there's no volume on them. So you have to some of my records have to go way back. That's why it's good on the beach. You go further away for diamonds, or you go nearer for falling in love. And this is true. This is where the term put a sock in it comes from. If you want to change the volume of a gramophone, you put a sock in it and it works. Come on, let's go for a kayak ride. Let's go on a date, don't hesitate, because darling, I just cannot wait to play you a 78. Soon under the moon we'll wind up a tune. I think that you'll appreciate the sound of a 78, because life is full of scratches, especially these days, and there's a simple tonic in these antiquarian ways. Please, darling, don't laugh at my phonograph. I think that you will celebrate when I play you a 78. Yeah. Gently place the needle on the Bakelite, depending how you're feeling. We can stay up all night, just like Fred Astaire will be dancing on air. So come on, darling, don't be late, let me play you a 78, 'cause I just can't wait to play you a 78.
Oh, the images are coming back. That is fantastic, Zoe Lewis on Mia's World. This is amazing. And how do you do those trumpet sounds?
Well, I can't always afford a band, so I started learning how to play different instruments with my mouth. So it's useful.
You've got a great ear and you can replicate those sounds so beautifully. I think that in the attic of the Queen's home where I grew up, there's still a whole slew of 78s with big band, Gene Krupa and Tommy Dorsey.
Wow.
So I'm trying to keep those intact, not selling them.
That is a magic thing.
Isn't it? I know.
And you know, in these days of technology, I mean, that's another thing. Like it's that just going to the quiet space or just, I mean, look, today, October the 4th, Facebook went down for a moment. So it was lovely. It was lovely. I was thinking about doing a jigsaw puzzle even. And I just read a magazine and then it was lovely. And that's the thing. If I get my records out, I mean, often on Sundays I play the 33, but with my, it's tactile. We don't do enough tactile things anymore. And we need to, and just even putting these scratchy needle onto just for one song and then taking it off and then turning it over and then thinking, what shall I play next? You know, it's a lovely action. It's good for us. We're so fast these days. It slows us down.
Ilona said that, slow down. She said that a lot. And it's hard for some of us and it's hard for the world because things are just happening so fast, like you said, but it's a wonderful thing to slow it down a little bit. You know, I agree. And what are the crowds like now in Provincetown? The tourists left primarily, or are they still there?
It's Columbus Day's weekends coming up, but actually, since the pandemic, there's a lot of second homeowners now, and they're doing Zoom things. So there are more people, and the crowds, well, it's being discovered. More people are writing about Provincetown in the off season. So I'm not going to talk about that at all now.
Let's not discuss. Okay, end of that topic. Segue into your going back in time again. You studied classical music?
Well, I did when I had my piano lessons as a little girl. That's what you have to learn. And maybe I'd have gone to music school if I had have known that I could have studied jazz, but no one ever steered me in that direction at all. So I did my grades in England, and I had a 19, I thought she was 99, my teacher, and she would hit me on the knuckles every day if I made a mistake.
Oh, no.
She was nice, but she still whacked me because that's what you did in those days. And but I would do everything by ear. I'd want her to play it first, and then I would copy her. So I'm not a great reader. But I did my exams, but I never did go to music school. And
Probably better off, possibly.
I went to New Orleans eventually and just hung over piano players' shoulders.
What a great.
So I did classical, and then I was searching for jazz in my rotting dean. I was always like, is this jazz? Is this jazz? And eventually, started meeting a few jazz musicians. But it was very exciting coming to the States and finding more jazz. I used to play in pubs in England. I mean, I'd found Ella and Billy, and we're taking a lot of the songs off the record and playing them in the pubs. And
Fantastic.
that was fun.
And did the crowds love you there too? Of course.
Well, they were drunk, so yes. But no, I mean, there's always, what's great in England, there's a piano in most pubs. So, and I was, I think I bartended for one day, and they were like, you're rubbish. And I was like, can I play the piano? And then I was playing piano every night. But the thing is, the pianos are always in the corner. So you play with your back to the audience. So I would wear a beret with I put a picture of my head on my hat. So they would see what I looked like from behind. And everyone, tips you in drink. So soon I learned, it's not like you get tips in money. You had pints all along, but I made lots of friends and gave them all away.
I love it.
I always remember my friends would stand behind me and they'd put peanuts on the keys, and I'd have to play and sing and try and eat the peanuts in between. That would be the joke, and not skip a beat. But that's quite good practice, I suppose.
Good for the timing. And how did you get to and love Puerto Vallarta that you go to every year so much?
Well, I traveled around Latin America a lot, and usually I just would work like crazy in the summer. When I first got to Provincetown, I had 13 shows a week.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it was great. And I'd save my money and then go off to a third world country in the winter. And then gradually I started getting more and more bookings, and then getting tours around the US. And, I played Canada, and that's where Judy Collins saw me. And then my career started, I started winning some music at some songwriting competitions in folk festivals, and then getting tours out of that. And so that was going really well. And that's what I'd do in the winter. But, I always would go away for a month or two. And I don't like touring in January and February. It's in the chilly weather. And then my friend Mark Cortali, he's an agent and a booker and great guy in Provincetown. And he recommended me for this club in Puerto Vallarta. And the rest is history. It's my 7th season. Well, I even played a few gigs last year after we went in May, but we didn't go down for January and February. But yeah, I've been playing there and playing with all Mexican musicians and gringos and everyone alike. And I fell in love with it, and they embraced me, and we're trying to learn Spanish. I mean, I have traveler's Spanish, and I just love it there. So it's great in the winter to go down there, and there's a whole community of friends there now. So I'm very happy.
Oh, Zoe, I'm sure you create another circle of friends, and they connect to the next one, and it's like connect the dots. You're connected all over the world, apparently, and that's wonderful.
I mean, Puerto Vallarta is very similar in a way to Provincetown. It's very gay friendly, and even though it's a big city, it's a small community, and everyone gets to know each other, and it's seasonal. So, it's nice. It's a nice mix.
Well, that's a segue for our closing, and unfortunately, we have to end the show because we could be talking and listening to you for hours. I love your music, I love your songs, and I love your philosophy of life. And it's just a treat to have you on the show. And we're going to close the show, Mia's World, with your sort of tribute to Puerto Vallarta, which is called Chile, with words and music by the wonderful and inspiring Zoe Lewis. You're enchanting and exuberant, and I love you. And the guitarist.
I love you too, and it's lovely to be on your show. Thank you so much. And look, we're both polka dotty.
We're reverse Amundo, black and white and black, and we love it. I love it. And Alona loved polka dots too. So here
Yay.
polka dot girls. And the guitarist in Chile is Eduardo Leon.
Yes, he's a marvelous guitarist, and I'm so happy he agreed to be on that song.
It's a phenomenal video. It's a phenomenal, colorful, radiant, full of life song. It's fantastic. So here at the end of Mia's World is Zoe Lewis's Chile. And happy National Taco Day.
Thank you. Gracias, amiga. A little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, salt on the rim, and a little bit of time. You're gonna feel happy, gonna feel fine, gonna feel very, very fine. Sunday morning, the sound of bells, dogs are barking, the bacon smell. It's time to make coffee sweet and strong. We're singing and dancing the whole night long. The bottle of tequila went down nice, tasted so good. We drank it twice. I know I should remember, but I cannot. The stars were swinging and the moon was hot. A little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, salt on the rim, and a little bit of time. Gonna feel happy, gonna feel fine, gonna feel very, very fine. Arriba! On the Playa Los Muertos, there's quite a crowd. All the mariachis are getting loud. So turn up your radio, jump in the sea, and come and have a swim with humanity. There's a tiny baby, a shrimp on a stick, toy chihuahua, sneaking a lick, agua fresca on homemade flan. And here comes my friend, it's the donut man. A little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, salt on the rim, and a little bit of time. Gonna feel happy, gonna feel fine, gonna feel very, very fine. There's a pelican diving for a fish, and his chopstick beak is a tasty dish. If a bocadillo is your desire, you're gonna get a dose of red hot fire. Cause there's chili in the tacos, chili in the chips, chili in the mangoes, chili on the lips, chili in the oysters, chili on the rice. Life is much better with some extra spice. Just a little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, salt on the rim, and a little bit of thyme. Gonna feel happy, gonna feel fine, gonna feel very, very fine. A little bit of chili, a little bit of lime, salt on the rim, and a little bit of thyme. Gonna feel happy, gonna feel fine, gonna feel very, very fine. Yes, a little